During his family practice residency, Dr. Haywood Robinson began moonlighting at an abortion clinic in the early 80s. At the time, it was an easy way to make money, and he saw nothing wrong with it. But then he attended a concert that totally transformed his life.
Dr. Haywood Robinson is a retired physician. During medical training, he met his wife, Noreen, also a doctor. And after residency, they moonlighted in abortion clinics together. When they realized they were killers of preborn children, they stopped killing babies. Today, Doctors Haywood and Noreen are spokespersons for the pro-life movement and educate others on the horrors of the abortion industry.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Dr. Haywood Robinson. It's so wonderful to have you here.
It's a blessing to be here. Thank you.
And talk a little bit, if you will, about how you first began performing abortions.
Well, abortions were taught during residency training as part of the normal curriculum.
Sure.
That's a part of what they call medicine, but just to set the record straight, abortion is not medicine because pregnancy is not a disease.
Yeah, boy, that's a good way to look at it, isn't it? Well, you and your wife, also a doctor, began moonlighting at an abortion clinic. I mean, we hear so many things, we see so many things. What was that experience like for you?
Well, doing an abortion in the hospital it's not much different from doing one moonlighting. During my residency training time, there were abortion facilities all over Southern California, and they needed doctors to carry out their work. And so it was very easy money. It's as you're killing a baby, and you get paid for each abortion that you do, and you split that money with the clinic director.
Did it ever bother you at that time as you did this?
Yes, initially when you see your first abortion, there's something in you that says, you know, there's something not quite right here. But what happens with like any addiction or any sin, you become progressively desensitized to the point where that preborn child is dehumanized, but so are you.
And you're in an environment where everybody's on the same boat, you know, going in the same direction. Tell me about the concert and what happened to you when your life was changed.
Well, that's very interesting. What a blessing. March 2nd, 1986, I attended a Leon Patillo concert at the church where I've attended since that time. And during his intermission time, he says, I'm not going to give you the 4 spiritual laws and all that, because I wouldn't have known what he was talking about anyway. And he said, anyone who wants things to be 100% right with God, stand up. And I jumped up. The Holy Spirit yanked me up. And he prayed a very simple prayer, which now I can see was a sinner's prayer. Now, I didn't know the facts about the cross and salvation. But what happened soon thereafter, my roommate from medical school, the good old Dr. Calvin Wheeler, who's the son of a Pentecostal preacher, told me about the story of Christ. And I knew this feeling of change that happened at the concert. I knew that at that time, God had saved me, but he had not revealed the details of the gospel. And it was just a beautiful walk since that time.
So did this old friend, the son of the pastor, just come into your life at the same time that you had been at the concert?
No, Calvin Wheeler, we were roommates in medical school at the University of California, Irvine. And we lived together for a while. He became a very successful pediatric neurologist in Northern California. And he's one of my closest and dearest friends.
So he shares the gospel message with you. God has planted a desire in you that yanked you up. You wanted to be righteous before God. When did you begin to say, wow, what I believe over here isn't comporting with what I'm doing over here?
Right. Well, very soon after coming to the Lord, what he did, he highlighted our past in abortion. And he basically put us in the pro-life movement. But what I like to share with people is long before I went to medical school, long before I did my first abortion, I was going to hell. So it wasn't the abortion so much that it's that we all need Christ. And I'm glad that I wasn't persuaded to be pro-life by just logic. Yes. But knowing that I was blind and now I see, but that was for everything. And now Christ is in my life and directing my steps and working in pro-life ministry.
I was going to say, you're retired now. You and your wife are both working to expose the abortion industry. How are you doing that?
Well, my job, I retired June 28th and took a job 2 days later with 40 Days for Life, which I've been blessed to be a part of since the very beginning. And many people who are listening or watching right now know the story about 40 Days for Life, but through the movie Unplanned. And with Abby Johnson coming out of there at the very first site of our 40 Days for Life campaign, and I'm blessed to say I was there at the very first vigil.
40 Days for Life, how do people get involved in that, and what's its goal?
Well, most of the people involved with 40 Days for Life are part of the prayer campaigns. We are going to be starting a campaign very soon, and it's going to last for, of course, for 40 days. We haven't announced the official number of campaigns, but it's going to be right around 500.
Wow.
We are in 30 countries. We have 2 new countries that we're adding, the Philippines and India. And
Wow.
It's all started on 29th Street in Bryan, Texas, Bryan College Station, Texas, where Texas A&M is, and by a young lady by the name of Lauren Gouldy. When she heard that Planned Parenthood was going to build a clinic, she said, we're going to meet. We didn't know what we're going to do, but it eventually became an extremely large ministry, 40 Days for Life.
Wow.
And it's a blessing. The power of prayer is awesome, awesome, awesome. And we see it because God cannot do that. I mean, man could not do that.
I want to say to those of you who are watching and saying, wait a minute, I want to be a part of that. If you'd like more information about 40 Days for Life, just go to cbn.com. We just want to encourage others to stand up for their faith and for righteousness.
And also we have a website, 40 Days for Life, 40daysforlife.com. And that's where they can find out where their local campaign is, where their closest campaign. And we'd love them to be a part of that.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to have you with us.
It's a blessing to be here.